What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And it's finally that week. It is finally champ week in college basketball. We got all the conference tournaments going on this week as we head into Selection Sunday on Sunday. And finally, the 68 team bracket is revealed. So in this video, I'm just going to be giving my predictions for the Big Ten Conference tournament. And this year, the Big Ten has been really stacked. You've got some serious powerhouses at the top with Michigan State and, in my opinion, Maryland. But there's also, I feel like, an added layer of depth this year to the Big Ten. We've seen the Big Ten get 10 plus teams in the field in previous years, but this year it feels like the teams are better as you go deeper in the conference than they were last year, even though it was already a deep conference last year. For example, like Oregon, they're the number 9 seed in this tournament, and they're a projected 5 seed right now in the NCAA tournament. So it's really just a stacked Big Ten conference this year. But without further ado, let's get into it. So Minnesota Northwestern, I think this game is going on right now, actually. Um, and Minnesota, obviously, obviously neither of these teams have really had the year they wanted. Minnesota, Dawson Garcia has been great for them. Northwestern's had a disappointing year, especially after last year, how they made the second round and things were looking up. But I do like Northwestern to get by in this one. I think what they got with Brooks Barnheiser and those guys will be enough. Rutgers and USC. USC, another team that's just had not a great year with Eric Musselman as the first year head coach. It just hasn't really worked out this year, but they'll give it time, I'm sure. Rutgers has had, in my opinion, one of the most disappointing years in the nation because you've got Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper, two projected top 3 picks in the NBA draft, and I think they're barely above 500 right now. So yeah, really disappointing year for them. So I'm going to go with Rutgers in that one. And I just realized I missed Ohio State and Iowa. So I have Rutgers winning that one. But for Ohio State and Iowa, I am going to go with Ohio State in that one. They're playing for their tournament lives right now. So I think they're going to be really locked in and get this one against Iowa. Then moving on to the second round, we got Indiana and Oregon. This is going to be a very pivotal matchup for Indiana as they are also fighting for their tournament lives. I think Joe Lenardi has them in the last four in right now or the last four buys. So really, really big game for them because Oregon's obviously a tournament quality team. So if you can get a win here, you could really solidify your chances. But unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be enough. Oregon is playing their best basketball since they beat Alabama earlier in the season, which was in like November. But yeah, I think they're peaking at the right time. And I like Jackson Shellstat a lot. I like what Nate Biddle's got going on. So give me Oregon. Wisconsin and Northwestern. Wisconsin probably has the best transfer this year in the Big Ten in John Tonje, the fifth year guy from Colorado State. He's been really just a huge difference maker for them on top of their already solid core with Stephen Crowell and Max Klesmit and those guys. And I think Wisconsin is going to get by Northwestern without much trouble. Then Illinois and Ohio State. Illinois, another team that I think is peaking at the right time because they're finally healthy and they've rattled off a couple quality wins in a row and they're looking very, very dangerous. And I'll tell you what, nobody wants to play a healthy Illinois team as like a 5 or a 6 seed in the NCAA tournament. And I think they're going to beat Ohio State. Then Purdue and Rutgers. Purdue in some unfamiliar territory, not being really the 1 seed, but also not being in the double bye category. So they're not one of the top 4 seeds that gets a bye straight to the quarterfinals. I think they're going to come out with a little chip on their shoulder because of that after they just lost at Illinois. So I'm going to go with Purdue. Then the quarterfinals on Friday, Michigan State and Oregon. Michigan State has just been absurd this past half month to a month. They've gotten like 6 quad 1 wins in a row or something like that. Right now they're a 2 seed projected. I think they could potentially move up to a 1, but they got to win this tournament and then maybe get some help from those teams currently on the 1. And this could be a really good game, like a sneaky good matchup. But I think that Michigan State's depth is just going to be too much for Oregon. We saw it earlier in the year when they played at the Breslin, and Michigan State was able to mount that comeback despite going down early at halftime. So I think Michigan State wins this. UCLA and Wisconsin. UCLA did a really nice job sneaking their way up into the top 4 seeds, getting that double bye. Um, and I just think Wisconsin is more solid. Like I said, I really like their guard play with John Tonje, and they've been here before. They made the finals last year of the Big Ten tournament, and so I trust them to get the win. Maryland and Illinois, this might be the actual best matchup of the tournament because These are two of the hottest teams in the league right now. Maryland, I know I've said that a lot, but it's true here too. Maryland is playing really high quality basketball right now, and I don't think anybody wants to see them. And then, like I said the same thing with Illinois. So this is going to be a popcorn matchup. It's going to be a really good one. But I do think that Maryland, Derek Queen, Julian Reese, those guys are going to get the win. Michigan and Purdue, Michigan is really struggling. Just a couple of weeks ago, they were in the driver's seat to win the Big Ten, and now they've really stumbled down the stretch. They're hitting a rough patch, and I think they really are going to come out into this game with a chip on their shoulder. And it's going to be tough. They did beat Purdue earlier in the year, and Purdue also beat them earlier in the year. And mm, this is a really tough one, but I think that Michigan is going to play with urgency that they've really lacked of late, and I think they're going to get this win. Then the semis on Saturday, Michigan State versus Wisconsin. These teams played like last week or something, or 2 weeks ago, and Wisconsin put up a really good fight. So I think this one could really go either way. It's just so hard to pick against Michigan State right now with their depth and just it's crazy. You tire out their first line, and then they bring in Trey Holloman off the bench and like Cohen Carr off the bench, and he's just like a freak athlete. And it's just they're just really difficult to defend for 40 minutes plus of a basketball game. So I do think that Michigan State is going to get this one. Maryland and Michigan, these teams just played earlier in the week or last week. And Maryland kind of crushed Michigan. Michigan played with a lack of urgency, but also the shot making from Maryland was just really solid. They were lighting it up from three. They've got the Big Ten Freshman of the Year and Derek Queen, and I don't think this result is going to differ much from what happened last week. So give me Maryland. Then in the Big Ten Championship, we got one versus two, a little bit of chalk. This one is always special because it's the game before the selection show starts and it's on the same channel. So you can turn it on and then you can turn on, or the selection show just comes on right after. And this one's going to be a fun one. Michigan State and Maryland, both teams very well rounded. I think they're definitely the class of the Big Ten, at least as of right now. And look, Michigan State, I said they have six quad one wins in a row or something like that. And I don't think they're going to stop that quad one win streak here. I got Michigan State taking out Maryland to win the Big Ten tournament championship. But let me know what you guys think. Drop a comment down below if you agree or disagree with any of my takes. I'm really looking forward to this one. I'm probably going to turn on the Minnesota Northwestern game right after this. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.